into the conversation, which will not last for 10,000 hours, but 1 hour that might keep it relevant for more than 10,000. Well, in this hour, we're looking at the DSS and Sheikh Gumi, what might seem like an unholy alliance, or better yet, a romance gone wrong. The Department of State Services says it has invited Kaduna-based cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi for questioning. The service's spokesman, Peter Afunaya, made this known, adding that it is not out of place for the agency to invite any person of interest. Sheikh Gumi has recently been outspoken on the issue of banditry in Nigeria. The cleric had said amnesty should be extended to bandits who he says have been forced into criminality due to, in part, government neglect. Now, this report made the news on Friday, the same day that we heard that the president had postponed his medical follow-up in the UK. Well, an update to that story is Sheikh Gumi himself, I believe on Friday as well, refuting reports that he was invited for questioning by the Department of State Security Service, the DSS, over his remarks against the military. His comments came after reports on Friday that he was arrested for questioning by the DSS. He spoke to newsmen after a Jumat service in Kaduna on Friday.
Nobody invited me for questioning or any arrest. I can categorically say that. It's when I venture into the forest, I go there with full security, the police, with the knowledge of the SS, the government officials, the traditional rulers, and with the Fulani leaders. I never went alone. No any difference between us and the authority. So people should have their peace.
All right, Sheikh Gumi is a man of many titles, even though we know him as an Islamic cleric. Apparently, he seems to be the negotiator, and for a lot of persons who react to his statements, some say he's sentimental to the bandits. But hey, whether or not the DSS invited him, does he need to be probed? Now, we're waiting for an update statement from the DSS as to whether Gumi is right, because they said he was invited for questioning. To speak about this and many more things, Mr. Olalekan Ige, a public affairs analyst and journalist, joined me via phone. Good morning, Mr. Ige.
Good morning, Chinedu. How was your weekend?
Wonderful. Thank you for making the time.
Yeah, thank you too for having me.
All right. So Sheikh Gumi is a man that is not easy to define because we're not quite sure, based on the roles and the statement he makes, what we should define him by. But we know he was born in Kano. He's the eldest son of the late Abubakar Gumi, his father, who was also an Islamic scholar. He studied medicine before enlisting with Nigeria Defense Academy, serving as a medical officer in the Nigerian Army. And as of now, he seems to be the self-appointed negotiator between the government and the bandits. So for this invitation by the DSS, which he says did not happen, generally speaking, and with the reactions of Nigerians, do you think that we have solid grounds to probe Sheikh Gumi, security forces, that is?
Well, I think it's a delicate one, really. And if it's going to be probed, I think there has to be some back channels to it. Now, you already know that, look, he has contact with a reasonable number of bandits, probably because he's an Islamic cleric, probably because the people trust him, or probably some of them are actually known to him. It's possible, really, in this crime. Some of them may actually know him, being a popular Islamic cleric, especially in the northwestern part of Nigeria. So you look at that background and say, look, can we really get some insider information from him? Are there things that we can obtain? Are there certain currents that we can tap from him and be able to know the modus operandi of these bandits and all of that stuff? Yes, we need to be able to extract some information from him, not a popular thing, not to make it so public, because you also know that it could come with some repercussions. Some may be trusting him to be able to negotiate their way out of what they presently do. It's not happening to Gumi, or it's not happening, should I say, to anybody for the first time anywhere in the world. We have people who usually do these things even for the best of the developed nations. It's just that most times they don't come out in the open to say so. They use the back channel to try and reach out, especially when they have the contact or somebody who has a reliable contact with people in this kind of similar situations. So you tend to deal with them, not officially though, but you use officials, but through the back channel to see whether you can extract certain information to see whether you can actually talk to these people to down, the weapons they are carrying. But if you have to probe, or if you are asking whether it should be probed, especially for most of the utterances he has made, I support that it should be probed.
All right. Now, the fact that a man like Gumi exists for the purpose of negotiating, does that tell the weakness of government in handling this banditry issue? Because again, for negotiating to be an option on the table, and we know that some of those deals have been carried on successfully, what does that tell about our capacity to handle banditry?
Well, in as much as I would say that we have been less than up and running in terms of tackling crime and criminality in Nigeria, I will also quickly add that, look, this is not just about being a weak security architecture, even though we are saying, look, it's not up and running, but then even when you have the best of this security, sometimes force is not what you use all the time. Sometimes the full weight of what you have as a state is not what you bring to bear sometimes. Sometimes you have to make an appeal, especially when you look at a situation where it might lead to collateral, excuse me please, where it might lead to collateral damage. You tend to appeal to their sense of reason and say, look, what is really the problem? We've had situations where people have been held hostage, even in the best of the economies worldwide. They bring in a negotiator. Why do you think they bring in a negotiator? Because they are looking at the scenario. They are looking at how many people are involved. If we bring our weight against these people, do they have people with them? Are there kidnapped people with them? Are there other innocent people who may suffer from from a physical onslaught against these people? So the idea of bringing negotiators in certain criminal conditions is not peculiar to Nigeria. Let us say that as a fact. So if Gumi wants to serve as somebody who wants to negotiate between the government and these criminals, particularly in the areas of dropping their weapons, in the areas of turning their lives around, or the areas of government say, look, can we just listen to you? Why are you into this? What is really the problem? It's not happening for the first time. It's a carrot and stick approach. It is when you try to appeal to their sense of reasoning and they fail to agree, then you come up with a more physical onslaught on them. So it's not new, really, when you have somebody, sometimes even in the best of world we could think of, people have been appointed as negotiators as a go-between between the government and the people and what they are demanding for. It's a way of also trying to extract some kind of information on one hand. It's also another way of trying to delay whatever they are planning to do, while you also bolster your security intelligence, you also bolster your position in terms of knowing where they are and all of that. So that if the negotiations does break down, then you can now strike, because you have been able to slow down what you want to do. You have been able to gather more intelligence about maybe how many they have, what kind of weapons they have, where are their locations and all of that, so that you put your men into position, you move into position and say, look, I think from what we've gathered so far, we can have an onslaught, against these people. So it's a delicately balanced situation, really.
All right, I'm glad that in your analysis you use the word appointed. You might choose to appoint a negotiator. Many of the reports that have to do with Gumi use the term self-appointed negotiator. Is this supposed to be a problem if we're to go by that tag for Gumi?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm talking about Gumi being a negotiator. Now, you said earlier that you might see need to appoint a negotiator, and Gumi has been called a self-appointed negotiator. Is that supposed to affect the process in any way?
No, well, I think appointing himself as a negotiator is based on probably his understanding of the people, or maybe the ability of the people to trust him. Something about adherents, and their leaders, especially in religion. There are some religious leaders who are so respected that some people are willing to listen to them, no matter the situation, because they just have this kind of respect, this kind of honor, for such men. So Gumi thinks these people may just have respect for him, probably because of his background, probably because of his connection, probably because of the number of them that he may have met, in the course of his life. So he's appointed himself in that position, and he's going to all manner of places, to meet with these people, to talk on so many issues, some very, very uncomplimentary. And you think that the government should be able to move in and call him to order. If it's taking this long by the DSS to invite him, I'm surprised. This is what they should have done all along, invite him, even if it's not for the purpose of arresting him because he's committed no crime, but for the purpose of what is insane, for the purposes of the kind of information he has at hand. I think it's something they will have just done to say, look, we need to talk to you. Can you please visit our office and all of that stuff? So these are the things that they said that the DSS should have done all this work.
Yeah, but this creates a problem, Mr. Ige, because let's imagine there's a community clash in maybe my community, and because I feel like I know those who are causing these problems, I make myself a negotiator. Will the government be willing to just take on my new title because I think I have what it takes? Or should there be some scrutiny? Because again, Gumi started to act on his own accord before we even heard of a collaboration with government.
Yeah, there are different scenarios. Is the government willing to even have a negotiator? Is the government willing to negotiate with the people? Is the government looking at what is on ground to make an informed decision as to whether we should appoint him as a negotiator or not? Or should the federal government of Nigeria, on its own part, or any of the state governments, appoint their negotiator, meet with Gumi if they don't want him because they don't trust the kind of information he may have at hand? Then you could as well appoint your own negotiator, or you could as well carry out your own security onslaught, against the criminals if you have the coordinates of where they are in these various forests, spread across the northeast, north central, and the northwestern part of Nigeria. Incidentally, these are areas with very large, landmass. Some 2-3 hours you are still within the state, or you are still within a local government. So you begin to understand the vast, volume of land they need to cover. So you put all of this into perspective. That's why it's down to, intelligence gathering on the part of the DSS, the Director of Military Intelligence, the National, Intelligence Agency, the police, the army, the Navy. All of them have their own various intelligence units. So what volume of intelligence is before them? Have they been able to see beyond what Gumi is actually negotiating on behalf of these people? And government thinks that Gumi is just talking whatever he wants to talk. They are not ready to negotiate with anybody. They are trying to take position, they are trying to ensure that, look, they can cover these people, and neutralize the bandits who have been making all kinds of trouble, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. So I do not have the kind of security information, the kind of intelligence information that is before the president, that is before the national security advisor, that is before the heads of all security agencies. I do not have the volume of intelligence that they have, and maybe that is what is informing them not to officially, engage Gumi in any negotiation. Gumi has been going around on his own to meet with these people and say, look, this is what these people are demanding, or these are their demands, this is what they want, achieved, and all of that. So it depends on the kind of intelligence that has been gathered, by the state, and what they think they have, and now they think they should be able to, attack these people.
All right. Even though a lot of people do not agree with Gumi's position and statements, lots of Nigerians have said that they need to look into the veracity of what he says. And the first one, of course, was amnesty for bandits. But he didn't just go by that statement. He actually said that if the militants in the southern region of the country could get amnesty, why can bandits not get amnesty? What do you see as the problem with that statement?
If criminals were given amnesty in the southern part of Nigeria, then the same criminals in the north should get amnesty. That's what Gumi is saying.
That's right.
Exactly. And were criminals not given amnesty in the southern part of Nigeria, I'm sure Nigerians will be able to answer. I think that is just what Gumi is saying. And I don't think there's anything in what he says. It is not a criminal for Gumi, or anybody anywhere in Nigeria to say, look, these people have been making trouble. Can we just get them to a round table and say, look, judge, okay, we will free you of prosecution of what you've committed so far. Can we now go forward and lay down your arms and let's have peace? There's no crime in making a demand. It is left for the government to either accept or reject such things. That's why we say, look, we have the freedom of speech. It is guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. Somebody says, okay, acting under the freedom of speech, federal government of Nigeria, please, can you give these criminals who have been killing people in the north amnesty? And it says, look, I'm not just asking because I'm asking. I'm asking because even in southern parts of Nigeria, criminals, cultists, armed robbers, and all of that have been granted amnesty. Can you extend the same measure of pardon? The same measure of pardon, on these people. I don't think he's committed any criminal offense in that matter. He's only look at the background of what he had done before. But the responsibility falls on the government to make an informed decision. Should we forgive these people? Remember in Katsina, I think there was a time in Katsina that the Katsina state governor met with bandits in Katsina state. Some of them laid down their arms and said, look, they were no longer, going to return to crime. Some of those that were even forgiven were later arrested. Some were even killed, by the escort of the military in the northwest. So you begin to understand, look, from our previous, that's why I said, look, it is the government who needs to make an informed decision. Can you look at what was done in the south where people were granted amnesty? Did they work? Did they achieve the kind of success we wanted? Did some of them return to crime? What happens if they return to crime? That's why I said, look, the responsibility falls on the government. It's for government to talk whatever he wants to talk, for as long as it's within the bounds of law. There's no crime in what he
Yeah,
says,
but Mr.
responsibility falls on the state.
an argument to this is the cause. Apparently, the criminals in the southern part of the country, which we like to call the militants, people claim that they had a better cause. What would you say is the cause of the bandits? We understand what the militants were fighting for and are still fighting for, but what are the bandits fighting for?
That is why I said the responsibility of whether to grant amnesty or not falls or rests on the state. If the state thinks what the man is saying is worth it, or what the criminals are demanding for is worth it, I think the responsibility falls on the government. Because there are a lot of decisions that have to be taken before you talk about granting amnesty. Have you looked at the background? Have you looked at what they are actually fighting for? Is it worth it? Do we have the personnel to last the distance with these people? Can we neutralize all of them? Can we implement the carrot and stick approach, to be able to solve this problem? That's why I say, look, it falls on the government. It is not for myself or for Gumi or for Nigerians to force it on the government to say, please give them amnesty. No, a lot of decisions will be taken before you grant amnesty. I remember that the President Yar'Adua's administration, when amnesty was granted, there were a lot of discussions that went on. The NSA then, some of the governors, had to meet with the president, the Yar'Adua had to meet with the security chiefs, and I think at the end of the day, there was a consensus, amongst all of these security people to say, look, can we grant these people amnesty? Can the federal government of Nigeria also look at all these scenarios? Can you meet with all the service chiefs? Can we meet with the governors or probably all the governors of the 36 states and say, look, we are considering this idea of granting amnesty to these people. What do you people think? There is a National Council of States that has governors and former presidents in attendance. There is the National Economic Council. Can we bring all of these people? Can we have these layers of meeting? Table it before these people and say, look, should we grant amnesty? What if the consensus is that, look, no, these people are criminals and they've committed too much, we can't grant them. Then it's left for the federal government to make an informed decision. So you don't just wake up just one morning and say, we have granted amnesty. Even in states where amnesty has been granted, the governors to meet with all the security chiefs in that state, meet with some certain elders of the state and say, look, gentlemen, this is what is before us. Should we do this? If the majority of the opinion support amnesty, the governor goes ahead and grants amnesty. So in this case, if majority of the people that the president is meant to consult are in favor of amnesty, then it means that he's alone. He can no longer, he can take away. Let's give it. But if all of them say no, let's fight it to the end. Then the decision is made. So it's not for anybody to force it on the government to say the declare amnesty immediately. No, it doesn't work that way.
All right. Well, after the break, Mr. Ige, more questions for you, and I'm certain we'll have responses and reactions from the listener. It's Morning Crossfire 92.3 Nigeria Info. Don't go anywhere.
The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent, traversing state lines and capitals, from Rome to Baku, St. Petersburg, Amsterdam, Bucharest, Glasgow, Copenhagen, Seville, Munich, and London. The coverage is global and the cast nationwide, covering every blade of grass on Nigeria's #1 radio station for sports and talk, Nigeria Info. Reach out for sponsorship and advertising. Euro 2020 with Femi and the gang on Nigeria Info. Live football, just the way you like it. The European club football season is over, but football never sleeps. Enter the UEFA European Football Championship. The pandemic could only delay, but never deny the fans the excitement they crave as the Euros take center stage. It's Euro 2020 in 2021, with scenes all over the European continent.
3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. It still is the Morning Crossfire 92.3 Nigeria Info. The words and voice of Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi refuting reports that he was invited for questioning by the DSS. I still have Mr. Ige on the phone. You're welcome once again. Hello, Mr. Ige. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you better now.
All right. Thank you very much. So let's talk about how Gumi's statements may be affecting the process of Nigeria tackling this. Now, even though a lot of people react in a certain way because of how controversial they may be, there might be a possibility of those statements actually affecting our fight. Especially, I'm going to take one which people believe was the reason why he was invited. He alleged that some police officers and army officers aid bandits in the country with weapons and drugs. He said this in an interview. He called on the army and police hierarchy to identify and flush out all the bad eggs. How is Gumi's public statements affecting this fight, Mr. Ige?
Well, the truth of the matter is, what Gumi said, is it true? That's the first question we should ask ourselves. Is it true? And from what has gone on in the northeast and the northwest, the answer is what the man is saying is true. But even the army itself has arrested some of its personnel for aiding crime and criminality. Are they not? They have. We've had a situation where the police has arrested its own personnel for being involved in crime. Have we not? It may be controversial. Some of the statements are true. I'm sure you know that a certain, I think it's a major general that was recently demoted for transporting cash and getting missing between two states or something. We've had some army personnel dismissed from the army for being involved in crime and criminality. These are facts. These are not guesswork. These are things that have been put in the media. Morale of the Nigerian army or dampen the morale of the Nigerian police. Rather, it is to strengthen them. It is for the hierarchy of the military and the police to take a look at some of these statements. Do we have insider collaboration? Do we have some of our men who are involved in these things? Do we have some of our men who are involved in giving intelligence to some of these people? Remember, at the early stages of the insurgency in the northeast, some of the villages that accused some certain security officials of giving advance information to some of these criminals, so that when the Nigerian army is coming, they don't get to see anybody. These are issues that the security apparatus we need to look at. Out of every 12 disciples, there will always be one Judas. You have a population of probably the entire population of Nigerian security personnel, the army, the navy, the air force, the NSDC, the police, the DSS. Let's put their total population at say 1.5 million personnel in Nigeria. I'm sure there will be some bad eggs amongst them. That is not new. They already know. We've read where some of them have been dismissed from service for being involved in crime and criminality. So you begin to understand some of the statements, that the man is making. It's a wake-up call for our security people to say, look, these have insider collaboration. We have dismissed some of our men before. Is it that
Hello? All right. Well, the network is acting up, so we're going to try to reconnect with Mr. Ige. But I would like to hear from you. The question really is, should Ahmed Gumi be probed? And what do you make of the back and forth between the DSS and Gumi? Of course, he was invited. They claim he was invited. That was the position of the DSS. And Gumi said that nobody invited or arrested him. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. Of course, WhatsApp and Telegram. 080-903-0646. Please ensure to be civil and objective in your responses and analysis. Good morning. Please turn off the radio. Morning.
Yeah. Happy New Week.
Same to you. Go ahead.
For me, I've gone through Gume's statement for some time. And I felt that man should be arrested. Let him come and give report what he knows about the insurgency and insecurity concerning banking and some other things in the north area. Because Gumi is talking as if he's agitating. We're talking about bandits here. You are asking for a amnesty for them. There was the one he even say, like the bombshell was, he said they are kidnapping children to get money. They are not vandalizing government property. They are not killing our government military men. Unlike in South Egypt, where they are burning INEC office, killing military. Okay, tell me, a man who is kidnapping people, killing some of them, requesting for huge amount of million, requesting for bike. You know, Nigeria government or whosoever who bought how many pieces of bike for bandits, they couldn't install camera. There's constant something they call what they call insecurity. Is he a thief or a call recorder? As soon as they record anywhere those bikes is, you can easily die them. You hear everything. But our government couldn't do that. Government to come out tell Nigeria that they should give the amnesty. Sam, let me tell you, there's something behind this. So,
all right.
There's something behind this, but they just tell you the truth.
Thank you very much. Good morning. All right, if you can, good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
What's up?
Please turn off your radio.
Yeah, Sam. This man is standing as an insider.
Again, please turn off your radio.
Hello?
Go ahead.
I said this man stands as an insider, a bandit. And he is saying nobody has questioned him, nobody has arrested him. Very bold. And DSS said they have arrested him. Or they wanted him. Which one I would follow him? This man should be arrested. Get him detained. There are things he has in his stomach. He can give relevant information. So I think what is supposed to do is to get the DSS to arrest this man for questioning, if they have not done that.
All right. Thank you very much. Back to Mr. Ige. Are you there?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Okay. Now, even though we still wait for an official statement from the DSS, it's their word against that of Gumi. I think the biggest problem is about the loyalty of Gumi. Now, let's talk about how a negotiator should actually function, a middleman. Should that middleman side with the perpetrators? If we were to get somebody to help us in negotiating, as you claim it happens even in more developed countries, where should the loyalty of that middleman lie? With us that appointed him or with the perpetrators?
When you appoint a negotiator, depending on the circumstances, it does not owe loyalty to anybody. You have told him to negotiate. He's not the final authority. You understand? You are saying, look, we appoint you to negotiate between party A and party B. The job of a negotiator is to bring both sides to a table and say, look, this is what this one is asking for. This is what these people can offer. Then the job of the negotiator is to extract as much as possible from both sides. Extract as much as possible concessions, extract as much as you can from both sides. Okay, you say you can do this. Okay, you say you do this. Can you do more of this? Okay, since these people have agreed to do more of this, can you also up your ante and come to them and make them happy? He owes no loyalty to anybody. His job is to negotiate. Because since both parties are on the table, his job is to ensure that both parties agree to something that both parties will implement. That's the job of a negotiator.
All right.
Sometimes the government wants to appoint a negotiator. Even the people on the other side say, no, we have our own negotiator. At the end of the day, there's a individual approach. Okay, bring your negotiator, we bring our negotiator. Let all of us meet on the table and let's begin to trash all these matters out. That's why I say, look, the responsibility falls on the state. As it is at the moment, the federal government can't appoint Gumi as a negotiator. He's biased already. So there's no way the federal government can appoint Gumi. It's not possible. If the people on the other side say, no, we want to appoint Gumi as our negotiator, no problem. That's what they have said. The onus is still on the state to determine how the process should follow. And that's why I said, look, the state has all the available resources at beck and call. What do they have on the table? What kind of submission as the security, either the DMI, Directorate of Military Intelligence Agency, or the Department of State Security of Information have been made available to the National Security Advisor? Or the National Security Advisor, what kind of information has been able to put together and put before the President and Commander-in-Chief and say, look, from the available data or from the available intelligence that I have, I think that we don't need any negotiator. I think we have these people under control, and I think we can handle it. It depends on what the NSA is also telling the President. Okay. It's also not depending on the President himself for what they have submitted before him. Is he ready to go ahead with what is before him? Is there an informed decision? Does it cause the decision of the NSA? Or is he going to invite the service chiefs and say, look, gentlemen, look at the information before me. I want to hear from every one of you. What do you think we should do? Should we go for the onslaught, a final onslaught against these people? You know, these are not decisions that you just wake up and take in one day. It depends on the positioning of your men. It depends on what is available before you. And it depends on what you think you should be able to do with a certain frame of mind. You can say, look, within the next 6 months, can we go for a proper onslaught? Let's see whether we can achieve some measure of success. And if there are ones, the remnants that are remaining, can we now give them a count and state approach? Or can we neutralize as much as majority that we can? All of this will take time in terms of information and intelligence gathering.
Okay. Well, let's take some calls now. 0817-923-0002. Your reactions to the focus. And if you have any questions for Mr. Ige, use those channels to make them heard. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sam.
Morning.
Yes, I want to Chima, calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead, Chima.
Yes, Mr. Sam, I think for me, I don't blame Gumi. You understand? Because the body language of the government is what Gumi is acting upon. I mean, we have heard even a picture that made rounds on the media where a governor was posing with a bandit. On the forest, we saw it. So, what are we blaming Gumi for? For me, I have never bought into the idea of amnesty for any reason. Any person that commits crime has to pay for it. Let justice take its course before anything amnesty. That is the problem. But our government will first of all present amnesty, fighting for the weekend. That is the essence why Gumi can come out boldly and force people to give amnesty to criminals who are killing people, adopting people, rendering everybody homeless. So for me, I don't blame Gumi. I blame the government.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Morning Crossfire. Wow.
Good morning, Mr. Sam.
Good morning.
My name is Eric. I'm calling from Bonnie.
Go ahead, Eric.
I think the government of the day is not doing the right thing. They are giving Gumi a leeway to showcase this terrorist group. My brother, the way he was talking and praising them, it will give them more courage to perpetrate more crime. I don't see any reason why he will compare what they are doing in the southeast and what they are doing in the north there. Kidnapping people, collecting ransom, that he's telling us that it's a good thing. It's not supposed to be so. The security agent should look into the matter that he said. He said he goes there with traditional rulers, he goes there with military security agents. So those security agents are going, can't they go and look for these guys? So for me, the government of the day is not doing the right thing. They need to curb these things now, because before it will turn or snowball to another thing.
All right, thank you very much. Now, I don't think that when Gumi says he goes with all these security agents and traditional rulers, it is without the knowledge of, the government forces. But let's play what he said, so we quote him directly.
Nobody invited me for questioning or any arrest. I can categorically say that. It's when I venture into the forest, I go there with full security. The police with the knowledge of the SS, the government officials, the traditional rulers, and with the Fulani leaders. I never went alone. No any difference between us and the authority. So people should have their peace.
Well, that's Gumi's position. He goes with the full security force with the knowledge of the SSS. Ms. Aiga, you can see the tone and the temper that he has of people. People are not quite pleased with the Gumi situation because, of course, terrorism is doing us a whole lot of bad. So naturally, he's a man that will be hated by a lot of Nigerians. But I'll take a couple of comments on WhatsApp. Ms. Aiga, are you still there?
Yes, I'm listening.
All right. While personally I do not support the amnesty call for militants, I think Sheikh Gumi is justified. What can we point to here in River State as a direct legacy from the Niger Delta militancy struggle? When the militants were kidnapping oil workers and bombing oil installation, were they demanding for equipped hospitals, school and revitalization of refineries? Did they use the ransoms they extorted to develop the region? The militants were demanding employment and surveillance contracts. They got them. They even got the governor as vice president. But as I WhatsApp you now, the entire region is basically the same. They are both generally criminals. Text from Oyibo says on WhatsApp. And Chukudi says, if Nigeria government is not ready to wage the war against Boko Haram and bandits, they should not arrest Gumi. Good morning. Gumi is talking with full confidence because he knows the federal government cannot do anything to him. It's a big shame to federal government where they are supposed having cases of bandits abducting students from schools or causing mayhem, and Gumi talking about how they are not exactly criminals and the government always willing to negotiate and we always having money to give. If we continue this for a couple of years, where would it lead us?
Well, I think it will require a whole lot of, should I say, a cocktail, of solutions. It's not just about the military software and hardware. We also have to look about creating employment. We have to look about, giving opportunities for those who are ready to work, to be able to do something. We need to be able to ensure that governance, we need to ensure good governance, not just at the federal level. We need to be able to ensure good governance at the state and local government level. It's not just about security. No matter how hard you try, you won't be able to eliminate crime and criminality completely, but you need to be able to give everybody a fair opportunity at competing for what they can do. And we are sure that some of the highest levels on unemployment are in the north. We have the highest level of illiteracy in the north. A lot of things are wrong that we need to look at in the northern and southern parts of Nigeria. Even in southern parts of Nigeria, we need to create employment. We need to create opportunities for people. We need to be able to have a safety net, for the vast youth of Nigeria. Nigeria has a very, very high population of youth, especially between the ages of 18 and say 35, 36, 37. A lot of them are looking for opportunities to do something meaningful, for themselves, but they cannot. Remember, too, that the advent of illicit drugs is also increasing the level of crime and some people take drugs to do anything. At last count, the Nigeria NDLEA are trying to at the end of May, have seized illicit drugs worth 100 billion naira.
Okay.
Value.
Now, Mr. Ige, we understand the gravity of the problem. We know how heavy it is. I feel like some of what you've said, even though that's a sustainable plan to growth, development, and all of that, these are things that should have happened before we had a banditry problem. Because for some situations, as a matter of fact, for most of these bandits, getting them sustainable employment will not work at this time. They have touched money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been used to settle some of them, and negotiation is still on for some. So to tell those same people to come down and have regular jobs, it's a war you will definitely lose.
Hello?
All right. Apologies. We'll just have to end it here. I have a few minutes left on the clock and many more comments to take. How can Gumi be negotiating? I think of taking that. Chinedu, there's more to Gumi, banditry, and the present federal government. And it seems Gumi is an errand boy. Well, neither you nor I can tell that yet. Investigation will reveal. But the body language suggests that. So I wouldn't blame anybody for thinking in that line. Good morning. My name is Jerry. The question you asked has not been answered. Make it straight. His stand as the cause of the bandits as compared to that of the militants, their farms destroyed, and you say you won't compensate them. There is God. That's from Sammy. My final call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. For me, Gumi is beyond DSS arrest. The law is made for ordinary man in Nigeria.
Hello. Unfortunately, we've lost that call. Well, thanks for being a part of the Morning Crossfire this morning. I'm hoping you and I have learned a thing or two and we can make better decisions. Coming up at 9 is the news. After that, Jude takes you on a ride through Hello Port Hackett. Connect with us at Nigeria Info PH on all platforms and with me at Sparking Oracle on all platforms. I'll see you tomorrow morning on the Morning Crossfire.